Might need to just move over a hair for the lightning round. All right, everybody, it's time to get the show started. We like to start on time, as always. Turn the music off so that we're not scaring anybody here. All right, no tests today, but we're going to try our best. Here we go.
You're watching PTZOptics Live, a high-definition broadcast available on YouTube and Facebook Live every Friday, streaming at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Broadcast quality made affordable.
Hey, everybody. Paul Richards here with PTZOptics. Welcome to episode 42 of PTZOptics Live. A little bit different, not in my amazing virtual set provided by Virtual Setworks over there, Eric Pratt from US Broadcast, but I am joined by a great guest, Justin Brown, who is the developer of our wonderful iOS app. And this is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to control multiple cameras, show you how it's all done. And Justin actually has a really great presentation provided. As you always know, we're always live streaming every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I run the whole show myself. So usually having Tess here, my co-host, helps a lot. So you're actually watching me kind of live switch this whole thing, but I think it'll be fun enough. Also wanted to welcome our family of Facebook group members. If you haven't joined the group yet, it's PTZOptics Pals. So that's facebook.com/groups/PTZOptics Pals. And you can see we have over 750 user members there. We're all chatting and talking about different live streaming situations and scenarios. And it's been a really fun community. So join if you can. It's a really great place. And then we started doing a little bit of Instagram posts. And this Instagram post is actually from Cruise Week TV. And they have a pan tilt zoom camera on a ledge inside of a cruise ship that's going around the world. And you can check it out at cruiseweek.tv. And they've got a live camera that you can actually pan, tilt, and zoom. So thanks for posting that on Instagram. And don't forget to like this video to help our charity. We support the Susquehanna Valley Casa. And that covers the introduction. So now I'd like to introduce you to Justin Brown. How you doing, Justin?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Where are you from, by the way?
So I'm over in Tri-Cities, Washington State.
Cool. That is awesome. I am going to, let's see if this looks good or not. All right, there. That is our live YouTube chat and our live Facebook chat. So we can kind of keep our eye on both chat rooms there. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take you into the lightning round just to get to know you a little bit, Justin, before we dig into all the tech specs. But I'll answer this one question right here. RCTV, yes, we are using vMix Call to bring in Justin. In fact, Justin was expecting, I think, Justin, you were expecting Zoom. We're trying something new here. So let's jump into the lightning round
quick.
here. Here we go. So Justin, I'm going to move over to your left a little bit. Yep, just move over to your left just a hair. Or pan tilt zoom your camera a little bit. Justin has a pan tilt zoom camera. So Justin, let's start off by asking you, what is your favorite candy?
Oh, Butterfingers.
Butterfingers. You're the first person to say that. That's awesome. Coffee or tea?
It's a weakness. Coffee.
Nice. That's a good answer. Apple or Android?
Apple.
I would have to say so since you made the iOS app. PC or Mac?
Mac.
Cool. What's your favorite book?
Oh, let's see. Man, I don't read a lot of books. Probably the one I read the most is called The Seven Church Ages by William Branham. But as far as nonfiction and stuff like that, but as far as fiction, I really don't get to read a lot, I guess. So.
Okay, well, let me ask just one last question. If you could go anywhere back in time to see 24 hours of history unfold kind of as a ghost, just watching the world go by, anywhere, anytime, where would you go?
I got to figure out who shot JFK.
Oh, that's a good one. I love it. That is a great one. Um, the music was loud, says Mike Lotta. Looks like I got a little bit. We're getting a question over on Facebook. Is it in the App Store? Yes, the app is in the App Store, and we're going to go over that all today. So if you've got questions about that, don't worry. So let's start with a little bit about you, Justin. So you're obviously a talented app developer. That's clear. I've used your app, and we're going to show it off today. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So my day job, I'm an IT engineer, but I do a lot of volunteer work for our church and our missionary organization. It's called Worldwide Missionary Outreach, and so we're a fairly small group, but we do a lot of work all over the world. I had the opportunity to go myself to places like South Africa and Colombia and Panama, Peru, Bolivia, over in the Philippines. And we've got teams over there right now, but we started getting into doing some live broadcasts as another way to do outreaches and things. And because we found we could reach a whole lot more people in one broadcast than we could on some of our trips and stuff. So being that I'm kind of the tech guy to go to whenever we do that kind of stuff, I started looking into the best way to do that. And so became pretty clear right off the bat that going with the PTZOptics cameras was going to be the way to go for us for affordability and the amount of features that you could get. And so, but being the nerd that I am, when I got it, I started playing around with all the different control capabilities and stuff. And I first built a little web app for controlling it. But for us, I mean, we're pretty small, so most of our broadcasts we were doing with a single camera. And so I wanted to be able to do an app that could do, all the presets and stuff that we needed and manual controls, but I wanted that way to do a nice smooth motion between presets. And so started playing with the iOS app, and that's where that came from.
Cool. Yeah, I am playing around with it myself here a little bit, and also the broadcast because I had to change things around a little, so apologize for that. But what we'll do is we'll just go down this list here, and let's look at the app here and do a little overview. I've got the app actually right here. Oh, not that one. This one. I've got the app right here on my iPhone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into it and show it off a little bit. And can you just kind of tell us what we're looking at here? So I'm zooming into the app now, so give us a nice, good look at it. You want to just give us a little overview?
I can give you a full screen view of it if you like.
Cool, let's do that. There we go, right there. So one of the things I really like about how simple it's all is set up here.
Yeah, that was definitely necessary. I mean, we don't always have tech people running stuff, and we were trying to keep costs down and have that kind of control capability, but keep everything in a easy form factor. So we did all the presets. We set it up to where you can move things around. I'll kind of go half and halves here so you can watch the camera move, but manual control so you can move it around and keep it simple. One of the things that we did too is when you're saving your presets, so if you get something exactly where you want it, then you can take and save it to one of the presets and name it something if you want. We'll just call this one test. And so then you can move back and forth between your different presets, and it does a nice smooth transition for the most part, so that if you just have a single camera, you can kind of get some nice controls there. But so that was one of the things that we like to do. One of the other features that we added, I don't know if it's not a lot of people notice, is that when you're trying to set up a shot, especially if you're zoomed in a lot and you're trying to move things around, sometimes getting it just exactly where you want it to save it isn't easy. So if you tap the edges of the ring, it'll bump it just a tiny bit in each of those directions so you can get it saved exactly where you want it.
Oh, that's
and then
what those
save your
rings
preset.
are for.
So, yeah.
I did not
So
know
then you have the capability to set up to 4 cameras just by going into your settings. And the settings they have, so you can control your max speed. So for some guys, when I give them the app, I slow that max speed way down because the touch controls they're variable speed. So if you move it a small amount, it'll move slowly, and if you move it all the way to the end, it'll go really quickly. So for some of them, I turn it down. And then that bottom section there for the pan tilt speed, that has to do with the automatic movement between presets. So I like to slow that one way down as well. But if you want that quick action, you can slide it all the way to the right and do it that way.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed in looking at your app here is that, oh, look at that, is that you can actually control the speeds. In fact, I'll control this camera here individually per camera. So I can have the speeds of one camera moving really fast, and then just by switching to another one here, and I think the overhead view does it better justice, but right in the settings here, depending on the camera that's selected, select camera 1, and it's up to 4 cameras. And I'm hoping we'll get some good questions for you during this broadcast about how we could improve this app possibly. But when you hit the settings, you're now in that one camera, and you can just have different settings per camera, which is a really quick and easy way to do that.
And one of the things that we did, and it was more of a necessity, it was a design decision for us because of how we were using it. But I'm going to switch over to the iPad one for a second here. But we have it set up so the presets that are in the app are app specific, so that I can switch between a couple of different cameras here, and all of the presets that are there, they're, even though this is the same camera, I can set up multiple preset tabs for the same camera even, and have it stored in different positions. So that way, if I'm moving the camera over somewhere and using it for one specific purpose, I can set it up in the same spot, and all my presets are already there, and I'm not overwriting what's on the camera. And so that allows you to, if you're like, hey, I want more than the presets that are there, you can set up multiple cameras that essentially point to the same camera. So
how are you doing that? Because I thought you had to have a single IP address per camera.
It is a single IP address, but if we go into the settings here, let me flip it back over. If you just go into your settings and tell it to use the same IP address for both, so I've got a broadcast one here that's pointing to 1.151, and go over to this other one, and it's also pointing to 1.151. So it doesn't stop you from setting up all of them pointing to the same camera, so it allows you to kind of do some different things there.
Very interesting.
That is one of the feature requests. That is one of the feature requests that we've gotten, is to be able to use the presets that are stored on the camera. And so that's something that we're working on, maybe with a toggle in the settings. You could choose if you want them to be app specific or use the ones that are built in.
So that might be answering one of the questions we're getting here. Can you share presets on multiple cameras? And can you set
that's a feature request. So okay. Right now that's kind of a manual thing. Whenever we have multiple people that are using it, we'll have the primary one that's set up, and then you kind of got to go through one at a time, go to the home button and then set it on the other app. And that's kind of annoying if you have multiple devices. So that's a feature request we're working on, to be able to just share between apps. But it's not ready yet. So.
Okay, cool. So I said we would do a live iPhone demo. I think we've kind of done that already. But I don't want to skip over this preset speed control and how important that is for users. And I know you did mention it, but maybe we should do a little live demo. Could you do a little live demo of the difference between maybe slow and fast?
So I'll do it right now with the slow. So I've got a couple of preset buttons here. So I'm at my home position now. I've got another one that's zoomed. So it just kind of does a nice slow transition between. And then if I got another one here saved to show the iPad a little bit. But if we pull up the interface here, and we'll make it a little more visible, and we'll go into our settings, we can slide those at the very bottom here. So I'm going to slide them all the way over to the right, and you'll see the kind of the standard behavior of calling a preset from like your remote. And so now, if I hit these presets and go between them, it's just going to go very quickly. So you got from 0 to 24 on your pan, and 0 to 20 on your tilt, and from I believe it's 0 to 10 on your zoom. So you've got quite a bit that you can play with there. And that's actually another cool feature we're working on right now is you're not always panning the same distance as you are tilting. So based on the speeds, you're just kind of guessing how smooth you'd like to do it. But if you're panning a long ways but only tilting a small ways, then it's going to make it to that tilt position first, and then you're only panning over. And so we're working on a synchronized panning feature so that it would take the longest distance and then time it to where your pan and tilt get there at the same time. So.
Wow, that's pretty advanced. So you're actually would you consider that trigonometry?
Yes. It's way more math that I'm capable of, but I found a cool web page that let me graph the different speeds. So.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome! Wow, and for right now, and this is something that a lot of people don't know. This actually is the only way to get that functionality of slowing down the speed between presets with PTZOptics cameras. So it's just incredibly valuable $10 app available on the App Store. I know we're getting a lot of questions in the chat room. I just want to make sure we give we're going to basically roll the credits and then do a full Q&A and go through everything.
Okay.
So we mentioned that there's multiple camera control. So we can do up to 4.
Right.
I'm wondering, have people been asking for more, or is 4 must be kind of the standard? Like, I don't think it's rare when people have 6 to 8, I think, personally.
We've had a few requests for more, and I think that's something we could accommodate pretty easily on the iPad. On the iPhone, it gets a little crowded, but we're playing with some different layouts there for that. So, but that one's probably our least request feature. But we have had a lot of cool feature suggestions from users coming in. So.
Well, why don't we jump into that, because our next one's manual speed control anyway. I mean, what are people asking for? Because it seems to really solve almost every, anything I would ever want from a control. The ability to zoom, the ability to focus even works really well.
You can do some manual focusing and things. One of the things that people wanted was like to store the focus in the preset as well, so you could go completely manual.
Yes.
And even keep your camera in the same position and rack your focus to a different position. And so that's one of the things that people have requested. One of the cool ones that I've been working on too is the ability to kind of almost record a macro. Like, hey, I want to go over to preset 1, hold for 10 seconds, move slowly over here manually, then up to here, and be able to record a series of steps, and then be able to call that with a button and have it go through those steps.
Wow.
So that one's on the horizon. Let's see what else we have here. Access the camera menu from the app. That's something we're trying to get done, and I think that'd be handy. Option to use the built-in camera presets we talked about, and the synchronized pan, tilt, zoom. For the iPad, we're working on. There's a couple of guys out of California that are using it for their church, and they mentioned, one of the things that a lot of people ask is, I want to be able to see the camera on the app, and that's a non-trivial thing, at least on iOS with the RTSP protocol. So one thing that does allow you to view that is there's the VLAN app, VLC, sorry, app that's on iOS that allows you to connect to that RTSP stream. And so if you had multitasking enabled on the iPad, you'd be able to slide them over and show them side by side. And so that's something we're working on, is the multitasking capability. To be able to use with other apps too, because I have like an app on my iPad to be able to control our Blackmagic mixer, and if I could not have to switch back and forth and show them side by side, that'd be pretty slick. Let's see, what else do we have here? Another cool one from those same guys down in California. They mentioned they have a web app that they use, and some of the other web apps that I've seen built in, allow you to save your own picture with the preset button. And so the new layout on the iPad, we're adding more preset buttons, and they're all in that 16:9 format. And so you could take a picture of essentially what that camera is looking at and save that with your preset, so you could more visually recall it without having to read your text labels. But
I mean, are you thinking about maybe raising the price? I mean, geez, just for $10, you're thinking about usually turning this into a pretty advanced program.
Yeah, it's been a fun project, and it's something that's hugely benefited us, and so we still want it to be accessible for people, and so we didn't want to make it too outrageously priced. But yeah, hopefully it will get a lot of features, and maybe some of those things will, if they take a lot of development time, we'll do as add-ons where you can add on that feature for a price or something. We
That's
haven't
not a bad idea.
figured that out yet, but.
All right. Well, that was a pretty good demo. It's so intuitive. I'm going to roll the credits, and then we are going to jump right into all your questions, everybody. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we're going to go ahead and get to your questions in the post-show.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming!